Alright, so I probably shouldn't tell this story, but since we're telling these types of stories, before I did the laser light shows for the raves, the way I got into the whole scene was I would go to these underground parties. And this, you guys gotta understand, this is a lifetime ago. This is not the person I am anymore. And in fact, this whole story, we'll say, this whole story is a dream, okay? This is all just a dream I'm telling you about. Doesn't have nothing to do with reality, okay? So anyway, before I got into actually working at raves, I would work raves, but I would do it in a different type of work. Basically, I would go to these things and I would sell as much candy as I possibly could. And I would sell a lot of candy, and I had really good candy, and it was really cheap. And so I was the type of person that once I knew I had sold enough candy to make my money back, and I had sold enough candy to make a really good profit, I'd still had a bunch of candy left. I would just give it to people. I was really generous, Why not share it? And I can remember one particular rave I went to. 3 days before this rave, the guy who was getting my delicious candy from had been attacked by this fool. Like, over there was an altercation. This guy like pulled out a set of brass knuckles with razor blades, like somehow like welded onto them or stuck onto them, and had punched him in the side of the head, like opened his shit up like three giant deep cuts, and then started punching him with his regular hands, after he had flayed him open and shit. Anyway, beat the shit out of him bad. And this is my friend and the guy I was getting my delicious candy from. It was a terrible, tragic event. Everyone had been talking about it. It was everyone knew that it had happened. The guy who had hit him, who had done this to him, he was a DJ at these like raves. He was kind of a low level, like a B star DJ or whatever, and he was known for being the dude that fucks people up. Like he's an enforcer type of a guy. So anyway, that was 3 days before this little rave I'm going to, and I wasn't really thinking, and I wasn't rolling deep at all. I had 3 or 4 friends with me. You know, we show up at the party. I gave my friends some candy to have fun with, to do whatever they would like to do with, and then I just went about my separate way of doing the thing I do, and just having a good time. And I ran into this girl, and this girl I had owed a bunch of candy to. And me being one that want to make good on my debts, I was like, hey, hey, I can make good on that thing that I owed you for. So she's like, okay, well, you know what? I can get VIP. Like I know the people that I can get in the VIP room. Let's go in there to do this. She's like, and let me, her, this is my friend. Is there any way we can just split whatever you owe me, just like between me and him? So I was like, okay, you know what? Yeah, it's all good. So we go into the VIP room, right? And we have to. It's one of those rooms that's completely separate from the main room. Like you have to open a door, like there's two big ass guards that are guarding it, and then there's just all these security guards and people in the back room. And I'm like, okay, well, how much would you like? Because you can have as much as you like, as much candy as you like. And I told that to her and her friend. And so she's like, okay, yeah. So I would just, like 5 or 6 candy is good. And I was like, okay, well, it's really good candy. So are you sure? And she's like, yeah, I'm sure. And then I asked the guy, and he's like, well, you know what? I'm an old school raver, and I can take as much as you can give me. And I was like, don't tell me that, dude, because I'll fucking drench your shit, and this is really good stuff. So you don't want to fucking tell someone like me that shit. Because I will, seriously, just tell me how much you want. And he's like, no, I'm serious. Like, I'm an old school raver. Just give me as much as you possibly want to give me. So I'm like, okay, dude, all right. So I fucking drenched his ass. I gave him a squirt of fucking candy. And he's all like, mm. So anyway, then one of my friends that I had known from some other shit sees me, and he comes walking up and he's like, hey, my friend, he's a DJ and shit. He would also like some candy. Have you got any you can sell or whatever? I was like, sell, dude? No, I'll just give it to him. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, because he was saying, my friend wants to go on to do his set, and he likes to have candy before he goes on and spins. He's a DJ. He's going to provide the entertainment. I'm like, well, yeah, then I'll provide some entertainment for him. Then he like grabs the guy who's over like 2 people away from me, and I can't see who it is. He grabs the guy, and lo and behold, of course, it's that same guy, the DJ that had hit my friend with the brass knuckles. My friend who had supplied me with the delicious candy. So then he's like, yeah, so here he is. And so then I just looked at him, and I was like, and I was just like, I can't do it, man. It's like, what do you mean you can't give him some? Like, what does he have to pay for it? I'll just pay for it. And I was like, no, you can't have any, period. And then by that time, like, all the security guards like shut up, and the room got way quiet. Like everybody shut up, and like everyone like inched over towards me and shit. And there's literally like 15 dudes, you know, and they were just like, look, dude, just give him the fucking shit, okay? No one even has to hear about you giving it to him or whatever. And you walk out of here in one piece, you know what I mean? Because what's to stop us from just either one, just confiscating it, searching it, confiscating it? We are security guards. I was like, yeah, you're security guards, but, you know, like, we're on the level, you know what I mean? Like, you're gonna have to fucking physically take this shit from me. And this is the type of thing. I have this weird. I'm not a badass motherfucker like by any means, but I have this weird like principle that overtakes my thinking, and it makes me not give in situations like that. I had to not hook that guy up. You know, it just I couldn't say yes. So they're threatening to kick my ass, you know, and like then they start. Apparently, the cops had been there twice, the fire department once. So some of the security guards were arguing that there's no way they could afford to have another incident where someone was getting their ass kicked and thrown out in front of the club, the rave, or any incident at all. So that's what the only reason why they didn't just start pounding, like start throwing like blows right away. So finally, all this arguing had happened, and I was misdirecting their arguments and making them argue with each other and changing the subject and blah blah blah. You know, there was a bunch of them, and this dude, and they're like, these are big ass dudes, you know, and I was nervous as fuck, you know, like my face was like shaking every time I tried to like look one of them in the eyes, and I was trying to make a point, you know, I was all shaking and shit. And so finally, they're just like, look, dude, get the fuck out of here, because we're about to beat the fuck out of you. If you don't get out of here right now, I promise you, you're gonna get beat within an inch of your life, dude. Just get the fuck out of here. I was like, well, I got some friends, I gotta go get them, and they're like, dude, you better hurry up and get your little friends, dude, like, because you're done. And so I'm like, so I run out into the party, right? And there's all these fucking flashing lights and shit and everything. And I'm looking for my friends. I see my first two friends, you know, and they start to follow me and shit. You know, I'm just like, basically, I'm just like, come on, you know. And we find my other friend. He's like probably the biggest cat among us, like the dude who is, you know, definitely the most capable in defending ourselves from getting killed, you know. Well, like I said, I'd given them some candy before we had parted ways. Well, we found him. He's laying on the stairs, rubbing his face on the stairs and like laying on the stairs, moaning and shit. I run up to him, I'm like, dude, you know, what the fuck, get the fuck up, like some bad shit went down. And he looks up and like, we'll say his name's Paul, okay? Like, Paul, hurry up, dude, some shit just went down. He looks up and he goes, where's Paul at? Where's Paul at? How many seconds till Happy New Year time? When did Paul die? Has Paul died? And I was like, oh my god, oh no, this is the worst time for this to happen. Somehow I convinced him. I was like, dude, we have to get the fuck out of here right now. And he all of a sudden he pops up and he starts marching like a fucking like a robot or something, like just marching. So we just start following him and shit, and he just starts marching out the front of the fucking club, you know. And so we're to get out of the front of the club, we have to go right by the VIP room. Well, there they are, all waiting for us, like right outside the door. They follow us out, right? I guess maybe either like still arguing amongst themselves, you know. This is all happening very fast. As soon as we step out to the front of the club, as soon as we step outside, my boy Paul, fucking the one that was bugging out, he just sits down right in the middle of the pavement, right in the concrete, just sits down. There's a huge crowd of people out there. There's this huge crowd of fucking security guards. They're pissed off. They're following us out and mean dogging us and still like you know, like jumping forward and shit, like they're gonna fucking take a swing and shit. And he sits down.